Now let's illustrate animations in PowerPoint. An animation is a visual or sound effect added to an object or text on a slide. Animation can focus the audience's attention, providing the speaker with an opportunity to emphasize important points using the slide elements as an effective visual aid. I have selected slide 4, and on that slide I have 3 distinct objects. I have the title, I have the bulleted list, and I have a picture. I'm going to click the title object and apply an animation to it. I'll click Animations. I'll click the small arrow in the Animations group so that you can see all of the options. Animations are divided into 3 categories. We have the entrance effect, which brings an object or text onto the screen. We have an emphasis effect, which emphasizes an object or text that is already displayed. And we have an exit effect that moves an object or text off the screen. We will not be discussing the motion paths. I'm going to apply the fly-in entrance effect, so I'll click it, to the title. And you can see briefly how the title New York City sort of flew in from the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing for the bulleted list, so I'll click that and I will click Fly In. And again, you'll see how each bulleted item sort of flew in from the bottom. And finally, I'll select the picture and I will select the Fly In entrance effect for it as well. You do not have to choose the same animation effect for all 3 objects, nor do you have to apply animation to all of the 3 objects in the first place. You want to make sure you do not use animation too heavily, or it will be very confusing to the reader. If you look on this slide, there are numbers next to each object, and this determines the order the effects will take place. So New York City will fly in first, and then Statue of Liberty second, Empire State Building third, Chinatown fourth, and New York City fifth. I'm going to run this slideshow from slide 4 so that you can see the effect that these animations will make. So I'll click Slideshow, and I'll click From Current Slide. So first you get the transition glitter. Nothing will happen until I click the mouse, so I'll click the mouse and the first animation, New York City, will fly in from the bottom. Next time I click the mouse, the first bulleted item flies in, then the second, and then the third. I had to click the mouse each time for each of those items to be displayed on the screen. And finally, when I click the mouse again, the picture flies in. I'll click the mouse again, the show ends, and now we're back to PowerPoint. I want to point out that the bullets are considered one object, but that each one of the bullets will fly in separately. As with transitions, there are also effect options that can be applied to animations. For example, when New York City was displayed on the screen, it flew in from the bottom of the screen. But if I click on Effect Options for New York City, you can see that there are various things that can be changed in this animation. We're not going to cover all of the options, but I do want to show you what would happen if we change the direction. For example, let's change from bottom, and we'll change it to from left. You click OK, and it shows you now how New York City comes in from the left. Let's change the bulleted list. Again, there are many options, but we'll change that one from, instead of coming in from the left, we'll have that one come in from the right. And then for the New York City picture, it's coming in from the bottom as it previously did, so we're just going to leave it at that. So I have New York City coming in from the left, the bulleted items coming in from the right, and New York City coming in from the bottom. So let's run the show and look at the effect of that. So I'll click Slideshow and I'll click From Current Slide. So first, the transition. Nothing will happen until I click the mouse. So I'm going to click it once, and you can see New York City came in from the left. Click it again, Statue of Liberty from the right, Empire State from the right, Chinatown from the right, and the picture from the bottom. I would not recommend making each animation different from the others because I think it's confusing to the audience, but I did want to point out that it was possible to have each of these fly-in effects come in from a different direction. Now let's apply some additional animation effects to some of the other slides. I'm going to click on slide 3 and select it. Remember, we have two objects on this slide. We have the title, this is a flower, and we have a picture of the flower. I would like to apply the fly out exit effect to both of these objects. So I'll click in the title, I'll click animations, click the arrow, scroll down to the exit animations and choose fly out. And there you see a preview of what would happen. I'll do the same thing for the picture. I'll select it and I'll click fly out in the exit group. Again, you'll see a preview of what will happen. Now let's run the slideshow from slide 3 or from the current slide to see the effect these animations will have. And I want you to notice that on slide 3, these are exit effects as opposed to the animations on slide 4, which are entrance effects. So click from current slide. The transition comes in, and now we see both objects, the title and the flower. And they come in initially, and there is no animation shown yet, but that's because these are exit effects. When I click the mouse once, this is a flower, the first one, the title, flies out to the bottom. When I click a second time, the flower flies out from the bottom. Click again, the glitter comes in, and the fourth slide will appear. But remember, nothing will happen because all of the objects on this slide have an entrance effect applied. So nothing's going to happen until I click the mouse. So I'll click once. New York City comes in from the left, then Statue of Liberty from the right, then Empire State Building from the right, then Chinatown from the right, and then the picture from the bottom. I'm going to apply one more animation to slide 1. So I'll click and select slide 1. I'm going to apply an animation to the title, My Summer Vacation. So I'll click Animations, I'll click the small arrow, and this time I'm going to apply an emphasis animation. Specifically, I'm going to apply the wave. So I'll click Wave, and you get a preview of what that will look like. So now let's run the slideshow from the beginning to see the effect that all of these animations and transitions have. Click Slideshow, click From Beginning. First slide comes up. Nothing happens until I click. When I click, watch what happens. Okay, there's the wave emphasis animation. I click again. There's the transition, and the second slide comes up. There's no animations applied to this slide, so that's all we get. Click. The third slide comes up. Both objects are displayed. Nothing will happen until I click, and then we'll get both exit effects. So click once, and the title goes away. Click a second time, and the picture goes away. Click a third time, the transition comes in, and slide 4 is displayed. But again, none of the objects will be displayed until I click because they all have entrance effects applied. Click once, New York City comes in from the left. Click again, Statue of Liberty from the right, then Empire State Building from the right, and then I click again and I get Chinatown from the right. And finally, I click and the picture comes in from the bottom. Click again and the show is ended.